Okay, the hour has arrived. Welcome to the marketing series, Get Your Marketing in Motion. And here is the main page for our webinars. You can go to this page on marketingdepartmentlv.com and you can see the webinars that have taken place so far. And when you look at a webinar, here you see the webinar. You see these are webinars that had been completed up to this point. You've got a webinar replay button, the bio for the presenter, the value of the webinar, a couple of value statements, what to expect, the webinar slides, and these are followed by the webinar notes. So you've got a number of ways to recapture the value of each webinar that has occurred. And our whole focus is that when you get your marketing in motion, then you can begin to steer it. You can't steer something that's not in motion. So what we have done, what the marketing department of Las Vegas has done, is each of our experts in marketing have made kind of a summary of the low-hanging fruits in their area, low-hanging actions that you can perform to get your marketing moving. And these are actions that have a low cost. They don't require a lot of preparation. It's basically actions you can take now to get your marketing in motion, get something moving, generate some income, and then put that back into your business for more long-range actions in your marketing. And we've had, the power of an effective brand image, creating multiple income streams, taking control of your relationship marketing. And today we're introducing Gordon Jones, who is our managed IT expert for the marketing department. And he has his own business, Multitech. And Gordon is a retired Marine with over 25 years of technology experience across diverse business systems. Gordon's approach to network efficiencies, disaster recovery, security, and preventative maintenance is proven to increase uptime and profitability for businesses. Due to his extensive experience, Gordon has the capability to address complex integrations, making them seamless and productive for his clients. And when we're talking about integrations, it's all the IT tools that you have. It could have to do with your website, your marketing, your computers, your different software on your computers, a sales program. And when you understand how these work, and not only understand how to maximize them, but how to integrate them, you can increase the efficiency of your business tremendously. And that's what Gordon is going to help us to this knowledge. So in this webinar, you're going to learn what basic business systems make up the technology infrastructure of a business, how to automate your business systems for greater efficiency, the value of your IT infrastructure. And we all have an IT infrastructure. So Gordon's going to point that out. Why manage your IT? Okay. So why outsource your IT management? And basically, if you've got your management under control, surprises are less likely to occur that give you sudden downtime. And the benefits of attending this webinar are you're going to increase your productivity, increase the cost effectiveness of your IT infrastructure. and obtain better results from your IT infrastructure. So, and you'll see the webinar notes will appear on this same page following the webinar, along with the webinar slides, and then the webinar replay will be here. So with that said, Gordon, we're very pleased to have you a part of this presentation and sharing your expertise. What I'll do is I'll open up the PowerPoint presentation.
I love your animation too on this, David.
It took a long time to draw each of those.
I bet it did, yeah. and that right there just kills me every time. I love that. The
That
apple
really
doesn't fall
does make that apple drop. Okay, Gordon, go for it.
All right, so go ahead and flip through because you got our introduction slides in there as well. You've got
okay, yes.
Your backgrounds and things, so we'll get that all recorded here.
See, this is why we have two presenters, in case one of us misses something. Okay, so I introduced Gordon. I'm the president and founder of marketing department LV.com, networklasvegas.com, and have over 15 years providing digital content marketing and relationship networking services. The marketing challenges that are faced by businesses. This is why I started the marketing department and have an amazing team, is that I noticed that businesses have a challenge locating the best marketing vendors, and then not only locating and vetting those vendors, but managing the vendors, coordinating the work of the marketing vendors to integrate them. And if you're unsuccessful, the result is mediocre marketing activity performance, along with continually restarting marketing programs. And how many businesses that have experienced, you get into a new website and then just a year or so later, you think, oh my gosh, I don't like this website. I hate this website. Well, when you have a team and you've integrated your marketing, those kinds of problems are not as likely to occur. Save you time. So our mission is to ensure that Las Vegas businesses spend less effort on their marketing while getting better results through outsourcing their marketing department. And then I also am a trail runner, hiking enthusiast, and have a website, LasVegasAreaTrails.com. So that's a little bit about me. Now let's move on to Gordon. And do you want to present this? You want me to present?
Sure. I'll jump in. Yeah. So CEO, owner, operator of Multitech. Been in business for just over 3 years. That's in Multitech. I tried to put this in a way that we're not just a computer fix-it company. We're handling multiple total technologies. So we're kind of we are your total technology solution. And as David mentioned, yeah, I'm a 20-year Marine Corps veteran. And then overall, 25 years of experience in corporate IT and systems and tools and things that have just evolved and meshed, that where Multitech can come into any business and recognize things that need to be done in much more efficient technology ways. We understand business, we understand financials, we understand the operations side of things. And it's not, like I said, just computer fix-its, although those are the main tools. So we're really there to help become that technology partner for you. Been in Southern Nevada now for just over 20 years, and very active in various charitable organizations throughout the valley, donating technology support and various other backbreaking labor that they need to have things get done with. So,
and doesn't one have to do with dogs?
Yes, one actually does have to do with actually animals in general, not just dogs. My wife's nonprofit supports over 50 rescues across the valley, and we're very busy and doing other technology marketing things that we've learned here from Marketing Department LV. So a lot of fun, email, text, website, things like that. So
you're making dogs happy.
Yeah, keeping animals happy. Yes, the dogs. So.
Yes, that's right.
So as David mentioned before, we're going to cover business system automation, value of an IT infrastructure, and then why manage your IT and why outsource. And why manage your IT is, I think, very critical. A lot of companies now, computers are so prevalent, and computer technology is so easy to get compared to where it was 5 or 10 years ago, that a lot of people just take it for granted. And I'm going to re-expose some of those things that we really need to do. So, in managing the IT, and a lot of that happens with, why manage IT? What does that have to do with marketing? A lot of things. There's a lot of things in the front end that if you don't do the IT stuff correctly, then you're wasting a lot of your time and funds on working in an IT infrastructure that you could be dedicating to your marketing. And as a 3-year-old business myself, I've run through a lot of these things, so focused on trying to manage the technology infrastructure of my own business and my clients. It's tough to spend time on marketing, and funds go different ways in different directions. So we're going to do a lot of things in that area. But as you heard, I've had 20 years in the military and over 25 years in technology. And looking back at my technology experiences, I realized, and when I started out in the Marine Corps, I was doing radio communications and radio communications maintenance. And those things embedded a lot of structure in how to handle maintenance, just maintenance in general. How to react to various situations, how to make sure that the radio networks were always operating. And it's a gruesome fact, but it's very, very true that if military deployments and units are in the field and they can't talk, I mean, that base need of talking to somebody in the back end to get supplies, to get medical assistance, whatever the situation is, then they're stranded. They need that kind of support. And I take that concept into a business environment. If your technology isn't functioning and operating correctly, then you can't get the right support across the other areas of your business to keep it operating and profitable. And in looking back in hindsight, it was really an epiphany last year. I realized that the technology and tools that we were using just in radio communications and hooking up various devices and transmitting data from point A to point B in a very secure way, is we were doing Wi-Fi before Wi-Fi was Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi didn't actually come into existence until in a true authorized form until 1997. And that was when they adopted the standard for home networks and business networks to actually communicate over a radio. And I don't know how many times I walk into a business and they discuss things about being slow or not operating right. And I go in and I discover their Wi-Fi access points are in a closet in the very far corner of the building and shielded in a metal container. And it's no wonder the antennas can't do their job. And by some simple logistics of relocating things, then all of a sudden the network is performing. And they're more efficient and more profitable in the long run. We'll get into more of those details later. But these 4 values are what we're going to cover today. I'm going to really dive into how managed IT services can overall help a company in a lot of different areas. And as a result, then, indirectly and directly, it helps your marketing efforts. So we're going to go into a lot of that as well on helping you do your job as a business owner and as a company to sell your services or your widgets or whatever it is you're in the business to do. So, David, next slide, please.
Okay, and just a quick comment. So imagine as a business owner, you wake up, you're all enthused about sending out an e-blast to your list. You open your computer and you try to call up your email marketing program, which is internet based, and your Wi-Fi is down. That just totally gets you off course. Let's say that you begin entering your let's say the Wi-Fi is not down, so you begin working on an email announcement message to your list, and halfway through there's a glitch in the internet, you lose all your work, and then you've got to recreate it. And so something that should have been very simple and a process that you should have woken up, you be able to put that e-blast together, send it out, and go on to your next business activity. Now you've spent all morning trying to do that same operation. So that's something that I've experienced before, and why Gordon is so important.
All right, so we're going to cover here is what is an MSP and why do we need one? And an MSP is a managed service provider. So the term has moved away from the computer or the IT guy to managed services because it's so much more than just the one tool that people sit in front of on a day. So we're going to cover compliance, and we are compliance and security experts. We're going to cover some of that. We're going to go into improved visibility and proactiveness. As an MSP, it's our job to make sure you know what's going on the hidden intricacies of your IT infrastructure. We're going to go into how it's going to become apparent how we level the playing field versus the big guys. You have very large companies that have massive resources to hire the biggest, brightest, and the teams of people. And as an MSP with 25 years of experience, we have all the tools at a much less cost to the companies that really can't invest that kind of infrastructure. But we bring that to the table. We sit down with business owners and we really look at the roadmap and the budgets for your IT infrastructure. So you're not unaware of things. You can plan for the future much more effectively. And you know where things are going to happen in the IT world. A lot of people aren't aware that Microsoft is quickly end-of-lifing various versions of software to where you no longer can get support. And when you no longer can get support, that means things you take for granted for various other pieces of software just will not work. They are not supported anymore. And you'll end up into he said, she said scenarios. And we really help eliminate that by working side by side, shoulder to shoulder with business owners and mapping out what they need to do to grow their business. These main things really allow you to stay focused on your business. The E-Myth really says that you shouldn't be spending your time working on things that aren't making you money. And yes, you need to work on IT infrastructures, but that's where we come in. We can do this for a very economical means that allows you then to dive into and really focus your time and efforts on selling those widgets or those services and putting together your marketing plans with the other teams of experts that we have here on the webinar with us. So I love this statement. Experienced and qualified doesn't equal experienced. I've run into situations where companies want to hire an experienced and qualified employee, but they can only afford $36,000 a year or $48,000 a year for this employee. And in their mind, they've got this very minute checklist of things that this person needs to be experienced and qualified in to support their business. But that doesn't equal 25 years of experience. And it's not just that, but as an MSP, we're dealing with multiple businesses at the same time and experiencing a wide variety of things that a single business doesn't experience. We often see issues with security and various fraud tactics and compliance issues across other companies before they become apparent to another company. And we can proactively bring those experiences to bear rather than an on-site person learning as something happens after the fact. So there's experienced and qualified doesn't always equal experienced. And that's what an MSP brings to the table. So in growing productivity, we plant the seed. We allow various things to grow. And what we look at here is, there's the animation. There's 5 main things that we work on physically. And these aren't necessarily in the order of importance, but they're representing the impact overall that we bring to bear in growing productivity. and by becoming more productive and more proficient from an IT infrastructure perspective allows you to have more time to do other things and saves time down the road. And we'll go into more of that later. But to start off here, we've got the tools. And to me, the tools are divided by the keyboard. There's the tools that sit on one side of the keyboard, and there's the tools and everything else that lives on the other side of the keyboard. So the computer, the cables, the network, out to the internet cloud and everything else, but as well as the tool on the other side, that person that is using that tool, how can they better be more efficient in using those tools? We look at the security layer, and there again, both sides of the keyboard, but there's things that we can do very, very quickly, very economically to help increase productivity and proficiencies on both sides of that keyboard. We dive into the various layers of the network. It's not just what internet you need to buy. I've gone into offices where people say, well, my internet's always so slow. So I called up Cox or CenturyLink or whoever the provider is, and I ordered more bandwidth because that was going to be the solution. Well, more bandwidth didn't really solve the problem because there's so many other factors that go into play between the internet and all the bandwidth and how that communication needs to happen. So yeah, they just went and spent more money on more bandwidth. Now they have less money to spend on marketing or maybe Facebook ads or various things that they need to do to help get their products out and their services out. So we balance all of that out. I always come across these questions. Well, how about this or how about that? IT is really a yin and yang kind of situation. There's so many factors. If you do one thing, it impacts 5 other things. If you do 5 things, it then solves the one thing. So it's very much a balance. And on top of that, we bring to bear that preventive and proactive maintenance. It is amazing how much that really helps an office environment run efficiently. And I can't stress this enough. People take for granted. I've seen companies purchase computers because the software they're trying to use says, these are the minimum requirements you need to run my platform. So they go down to the big box store, they go online, whatever, and they find that computer that's most economical for them to buy that has those 4 minimum requirements, and they install this brand new tool into their system, and they call me up and says, how come my software isn't working right? Well, because your brand new tool with the minimum requirements aren't really the right requirements for everything else you need to do. And now they're stuck. They have to go spend more money and they have to do this or that to try and get that tool to be balanced in their environment. But not just that, they buy that tool, they plug it in, they follow the yes, yes, yes to get it started. But there are so many other things on that computer that are running in the background that the manufacturers love to provide to us because they think it's the best way for you to run your business, that are eating up memory, eating up hard drive space, eating up processing time. We go in and we tune the computer for the tools and the systems that the business needs to be operating at. After we are done, it's amazing to hear that user's experience on that side of the keyboard saying, oh my God, it starts so much faster. I'm not waiting for the cursor to present anymore. I'm not waiting for Excel to open and the screen to paint. And my browser is acting so much faster. Well, that's because we made the tool work right for the job. And we continue to do that and monitor that. We had a client just recently, brand new computer, laptop installed on their system, very key, intricate operation training component of their business. And we went in and upgraded some of our remote management tools. And within 24 hours, we saw that that laptop was having 4 of the 6 processor cores overheating at 70, 80, 90 degrees Celsius, which is about 180 degrees, which, as you know, heat and computers don't mix. So this brand new computer they got was not operating efficiently, was actually destroying itself silently in the background. And these alerts weren't happening when the person was using it. We were getting them at midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, things like that. The computer was just beating itself up. And so allowing us to automatically get that alert, that support ticket opened up, communicate with the client before they come in the morning and say, hey, this laptop is overworking. and it shouldn't be. It's brand new. You've got a technical problem inside of it that you don't see and you don't understand what's happening, where 6 months down the road, it would have just dropped dead and failed. Now they can proactively go back to the person they bought it, get it exchanged, or purchase the right tool for the job so that it operates more efficiently. All of these things lead to the biggest bang for the buck, which is your productivity. And the end result is that combination of a work environment using the 4 previous items in a very smooth, efficient manner. So we do this in phases. And the very first phase, we got to plant the seed, right? What is the low hanger? We got to build that fruit tree. And I love these analogies, but we actually have available through marketing department LV a phase 1 approach that allows clients to handle and attack internal security, one of the weakest points, and maintenance, the other weakest point. We come in and we do an audit. The URL is at the bottom of the screen here, and you can find it on the marketing department LV. But coming in a fashion to do that audit of the system, do some quick cleanups on the system that people aren't aware of, look at the proactive maintenance, we look at the operating systems, the versions, our security updates in place, those kind of things, is really that quick bang for the buck, getting started aspect of a managed service provider helping your business become more profitable and productive over time. So within 1 day, we are allowing your systems to bring you peace of mind. We've got the right security software installed. There are so many great systems out there for security, but they don't really integrate and work well with company operations. They can be very reactive in the way they're programmed and controlled. A virus outbreak happens. The security software has to reprogram itself to handle that outbreak. You have to receive the update to handle that update. And if you're not accepting those updates in a real-time fashion, then you're not protected. Our security software actually uses a whole suite of artificial intelligence behind itself in the cloud, runs very seamlessly in the background, doesn't interrupt your day to get a security update. It handles it all right away. But the best part is it's very low impacts to your system. So it's not eating up a lot of CPU time. It's not interrupting a lot of memory. And it just hums in the background. And after we've installed it, I get calls from clients sometimes. I got this weird email. I'm not sure if I should open it or not. Well, one, if you're not sure, don't. But if you did, it's no big deal because we're going to block it. And you wouldn't get the negative impact that would happen by accidentally opening something. You don't really have to worry as much. So that phase 1, planting the seed, getting the baseline in when it comes to the security systems and the preventive, proactive maintenance. Sometimes I use the analogy, we're the pool guys of IT, right? Or we're the landscapers of IT. A lot of people will have pools in their backyard. They hire a pool guy. He comes out once a week, sneaks into your backyard, cleans it all up, balances the chemicals. Friday night, you come home, you turn on your jacuzzi, it works, it's clean, it's not green, and things are floating around in there. Same type of stuff with a managed service provider. We're in the background, we're making sure the systems are operating right. So Monday morning, when you come in and you turn on the switches, you know that that system is going to be working right for you. And that's really the big crux of what we bring to the table very cost effectively when it comes to a client's infrastructure. Next slide, please. So phase 2. Now we're letting that tree start to bloom and grow. Security is not a one-time thing. There are so many other aspects that we look at on that. There again, both sides of the keyboard, right? We have ways to test a company and see if the employees understand what a phishing email is and those kind of things. So we're allowing various ways to help enhance security through education. We also dive into the network side of things when it comes to IT and security. So we're looking at your firewall, we're tuning things there. We look at your Wi-Fi network, we're making enhancements there. So those kind of compliance aspects and security aspects are a whole bunch of other things that we handle for you. And one of the great things about an MSP is we can work with your schedules, excuse me. And we can work with your budget in a way that handles the most important items first. And at that phased approach, you know that we're going to be there to help you take care of these other items. Meanwhile, in phase 2, we've been collecting data from a hardware perspective on preventive maintenance. We know right away what systems are about to fail, but at the same time, we can see trends. We can see negative aspects of maybe the controller's computer on the first Friday of the month is always pinging out on RAM and pinging out on hard drive because they're trying to close the books. Well, those slowdowns and delays can be improved upon maybe with some tuning, additional tunings in the systems, or maybe throw in an extra 8 gig of RAM in to that computer. All of a sudden, the controller is operating much more effectively through month close and not up against the wire of trying to get the systems done. So we can look at and evaluate positions and operations. We really dig into, now that we've got the audits done, we sit down with you and we do planning strategies. You purchased this computer 4 years ago. You know, now we want to look at maybe its end of life, its life cycle for the hardware is about to fail. Jumping back just a little bit, I want to put a concept out there for everybody. So automation is the holy grail, okay? But you have to look at your business in a very wide manner, okay? You've got all these tools, as I mentioned. You got the computers, you got the people, you got the network, you got the internet, all of those things together. That business, in my mind, I look at it as like a 1970 station wagon. It's huge, it's clunky. All these things have to be in there and shoved into that environment and work. When I look at automation though, that's the cool stuff, right? That's the stuff where we want it to work right away. But if your systems aren't tuned up, you just threw a Ferrari engine and suspension on top of your business that isn't ready to operate and behave like a Ferrari. So these kind of things that we accomplish here help you really get to that automation. Yes, you can throw an automation platform on, you can find something, you can put it in there, but if they're not operating right and people are so busy reacting to issues on their computer, they can't be properly trained on how to do that automation. That automation, as cool as it is, isn't working as effectively as it should be. There's things in automation that people just assume that they can have that various other applications that maybe that station wagon has installed on it might conflict with. And because maybe you went online and Googled, how do I automate this task? And you got 20 million different results and you picked the one that was advertising on the first page and you purchased it and installed it, but now it conflicts with, well, that won't work on Android devices. It only works on Apple devices. So now your other half of your company who is on Apple won't really make it work. That's very rudimentary, but it's a perfect example of not getting the right tool for the job. Even though it looked cool and it's very inexpensive, but it won't integrate with QuickBooks or it won't integrate with Excel. Things like that you might want to benefit from having an automated system. There again, we partner with and we look at the entire infrastructure and how to find the right tools for the job. And that includes finding the right automated tool to make it really work with. Stan and I do a lot of marketing work. He's got all those experiences. It's very valuable to have that team, to have the hardware side and the network infrastructure side, and all of those automations that can be brought in to make things work. So it's a great example of how this team collaborates and whatnot. So when we look at software inventories, we're doing that for you. We're looking at your licenses. We're making things are not near end of life and that you can grow your business 2 years down the road in a way that is very smooth and efficient for you rather than a heartache. There's companies out there right now that still are running Windows NT workstations because the software that they have on them that they need to run a various device cost up to $10,000 to upgrade that software. And it's a better risk for them to keep Windows NT and not have to pay the $10,000 for the upgrade to Windows 10. But at the same time, that system is dying and they're stuck. And they're going to have to bite the bullet soon rather than having planned and upgraded to Windows 7 or Windows Vista when the time was right, and then Windows 8 when the time was right, and then Windows 10 when the time was right. And eating that small increment along the way for those upgrades rather than being forced to go from $0 to $10,000 to buy the new software package. That's where an MSP comes in to help you overcome those obstacles. So further increases in stability, productivity, and then that prepares us for the final phase there as our plan for phase 3. If we could go to the next slide, please. Right. So building blocks again, we're continuing our phase 1 and phase 2 and testing and putting things in. We're monitoring. You actually get a physical report from an MSP showing you the operations of your systems. It's no longer hidden. Remember I said at the introduction that we're exposing this information for you rather than it being hidden in the background and you don't know. We've got process improvements in place, right? We now can really plug in those automations and we can tear apart that station wagon and make your stuff run like a Ferrari and having it move forward. And we're working side by side with you as that technology business partner to help you plan for future projects. Maybe now you want to start selling your widgets more online. I've talked a lot about it in improving productivity, improving efficiencies, and I wanted to kind of expose some things people take for granted here in using this slide. So when we engage with a client, we've got this massive amount of lost time that's happening inside of a business. And these numbers can be minutes, seconds, doesn't matter. There's a big amount of lost time that's happening. And these are items that people through repetition take for granted. Opening Excel takes 10 seconds. Opening the spreadsheet takes another 20 seconds for the spreadsheet to load. On and on throughout the entire day, there's things that are happening that people are waiting on the computer for. Perfect example, I had a law office I work with, and she was talking to me. She goes, my paralegals are always complaining that they have to wait for this to open and wait for that to open. And we looked at them for a day, and it was huge amount of time that they click and wait, and wait, and then they can start working. We went in, put our proactive maintenance on, cleaned out some hidden viruses that they had on the computer, tuned up the Windows registry, got rid of a bunch of other junk that was in the background, and now click, work, click, work. That is a hidden waste of time, a hidden cost. Let's just do a quick example, some simple math. One employee, let's say you pay them $20 an hour, $160 a day, right? And so all those click wastes of time, turning on the computer, waiting 3 minutes for the systems to load, et cetera, et cetera. Let's say on average, that equals 7 minutes in one 8-hour period. 7 minutes a day. 7 minutes an hour. That doesn't sound like a lot. 20 seconds here, 30 seconds here, across 60 minutes is not a lot of time. 7 minutes in 1 hour. So now we're talking about 56 minutes in a day of wasted time. Okay? That's almost an hour of wasted time. So you paid this person $20 an hour to sit there and watch the cursor move, to wait for the computer, to wait and wait and wait, right? So that $20 an hour, 1 hour a day, over a 20-day work month is $400 a month of wasted money that you paid this person to not do something they're supposed to be doing. Times 10 employees in your business, that's $4,000 a month in hidden waste from lack of productivity from not having a tuned up system, not having the proper network configurations, not having your Wi-Fi tuned up right, slowness here, slowness there, all of that. $4,000 a month for 10 employees, wasting 7 minutes an hour on waiting for a system.
And by the way, that's pretty conservative, Gordon, because when
absolutely.
somebody has a 20-second, 30-second interruption, it doesn't just take 20 or 30 seconds. It takes getting back on track. You can spend, I think there's statistics that say
there are huge statistics.
Minute, yeah.
I could spend an hour talking about just that. So by Multitech coming in and providing these baseline services at very low cost, just the IT security audit kickstart, I am fairly confident that I can save you $2,000 a month in that example. I can cut that in half. I think that $2,000 a month in productivity increases to where now maybe your accounting department is able to process a lot more invoices, collect and submit to the bank more checks, not having to wait here or there. Customer service response times. No longer are your employees telling the customer on the other end, this is my favorite saying of all time too, sorry, I'm waiting on my computer to refresh. How many times do we hear that in the course of our day? Walking into a company that has a computer at the front counter and they tell you, sorry, I'm waiting for my computer to refresh. Mm-hmm. My favorite answer on that is, hey, I know an IT company that can help you solve that. And I do it on the phone. I hear people all the time, well, I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting for that. Hey, I know a good IT company. I talked to an insurance company the other day. And she goes, well, I'm waiting for this and that. And I go, yeah, okay, I can help fix that. Really? So it was an open door. It's an easy intro to Multitech services on how we can help come into a company and help optimize things so that more orders are processed, more money is coming in your door. You're not panicking and pulling out your hair. Sorry, bad analogy for me. But and that business is really running at its peak optimum way, allowing you to focus more on your marketing, allowing you to have better cash flow. And all of a sudden you have a few extra bucks to throw at Facebook ads, to throw at email marketing campaigns, and things like that. So IT automation, technology infrastructure, managed service providers aren't directly related to marketing, but we can help your overall marketing efforts in a lot of ways. And I look forward to doing so.
Excellent. Okay, let's open this up for questions. You've heard Gordon describe the IT infrastructure that's in many businesses and how managing that infrastructure is so important to avoid downtime, lost time, and huge amount of expense. So any questions anyone has? Do you have a problem that you'd like to run by Gordon? Your computer was doing something strange. You know, something that you've heard another business talk about. And go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like to share an issue.
Hi guys, I have a question.
Okay, Debbie Kluska.
Well, I actually want to have a comment first. That productivity slide and the commentary during that really kind of blew my mind. I never really thought of it that way. How much time is lost in a day by waiting for to click. Like that really, I wrote that down. I'm going to be thinking about that all day long.
Well, let me blow your mind some more. Okay? So not only do you have the wages that you're paying this person,
I'm thinking about productivity.
You've got burden, taxes, everything else that goes on top of that, and you're paying, let's say, $1,500 a month in rent, right? Cams, electric, internet, all of those things you're paying to be working for that entire month, divided by the number of employees, divided by the number of hours in the day, is also wasted money that you're spending on that you're not getting your benefit for.
Wow. It's crazy. It's something definitely I'll be thinking about a lot and
Yeah.
paying attention to as I'm working today. What's slowing me down? I love it. No, so I had something that has come up because I rent space in an executive suite,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been there 2 years, and I've had two instances. One was beyond their control because a car crashed into their power box. We lost power, but I'm kind of sometimes. I don't have control over all my internet sometimes. If they go down, is there something I could do? Because I had to go home once and work from home because something happened. They were waiting for their IT person to come in, and I just wasn't productive.
Yeah,
So.
that's a great question. And the answer is one of my favorite of all times that everybody hates. Yes and no. It really comes down to how that executive suite manages their systems. I've worked with some clients in executive suites where I could then talk to their IT team and say, well, can we maybe segment or do this for Suite 100 because they need this? Or do you mind them bringing in another circuit and let's do this as an option? So there again, experience versus experience comes into play. Thinking outside the box, running into all these situations has allowed us to break a lot of the paradigms that exist with some executive suites. Back to that law office example I had before. She was in a shared suite, not an executive suite like I know you're talking about, but she was in a shared suite. And she gave the other law offices that were working in there money for her internet. But it wasn't required for her to actually do that. Well, it turns out one of the other law offices had a breach on something and Cox shut down the circuit. So not her fault, but she was impacted by it. So we talked to Cox, talked to the landlord, talked to the owner of the suite of offices, and we brought in a secondary circuit, brought in her own firewall to where now everything is personally secured for her in her law office compared to shared network space with the other law offices. So yes and no.
Gotcha. No, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Hey, any other questions?
No question, but I'll add a comment to it as well. With the before moving to Vegas, with running my martial arts school, lots of people don't think about how even just a small business like that really depends on that IT support like that. But so many apps these days are run over the internet. And we had, even with just that little martial arts school, I had a minimum of 3 computers that were going all the time. And depending on who else I might have had into the office there working, whether they were helping me with bookkeeping or they were my managers or somebody that was doing the recruiting in for me, that they were accessing the database and all that. But all of those apps that we used were all internet based, and it's critical what Gordon was talking about of it going down. It literally shuts down the operation if you don't have all those systems working together. And so as he talked about that, it just brought back some of those memories. And I was thinking, man, I remember that at one point in time, I didn't have that IT support because it was being done by my students or by some of my instructors that were IT guys and all of that. But you can't always depend on those guys because they're at their full-time job or they're somewhere else when you might need them. So having somebody that's available like a firm like Gordon's is critical.
That's a great point, Stan. And one thing I want to add on that, a lot of people have really dismissed the idea of disaster recovery and redundancy. Well, yeah, I'm saving everything to OneDrive. I've got it on my Google Drive. I've got it on Dropbox. Well, yeah, you do. Okay. But if the internet's down, no, you don't. Well, maybe you do, because it might be replicated to your local machine. But now you're relying on that 2 terabyte of cloud storage space for your data but there are no real backups of that critical system. If it physically crashes, what do you do? So there's some really cool things that we can put in place very economically. I actually have it implemented at an iVision Center client of mine, to where they're not relying on that internet connection to get at their data. It actually caches it all locally on a special device, not the computer, because now you don't have to buy computers with 2 terabyte drives to store the local replication with. But in her network environment is one device, stores everything locally. So if the internet does go down, they still can access various patient files and things. And when the internet comes back up, it does replicate to its own HIPAA compliant secure cloud, and they're taken care of seamlessly. They don't have to worry about it anymore.
Perfect. Hey, Gordon, I do have a question that came up just as you were talking about that. What do you do, if anything, with regard to this whole issue of I forget what they call it, but it's like blackmail, or it's, you know, holding your systems.
Ransomware, yeah.
Ransom, that's it. That's the word.
Our security software takes care of that. There are various levels of ransomware. People perceive certain things as ransomware when it's not really ransomware. There's a lot of malicious adware content on a website at times. It may be a reputable company, but they have that strip of ads down the right-hand side. They don't control the content for that. And if you click that, it may perceive like ransomware, but with various levels of our security software, we can monitor those web pages and block that from happening, as well as the actual malicious ones. There's ones that install on the system and embed themselves into the registry, and they slow a system down to a point, and then maybe 6 months from now, they want to pop up and cause that ransomware effect. So our maintenance and our security systems take care of a lot of those issues.
Okay. Gordon, you referred to something a while ago. We have what we call Kickstart specials. And let's
one I want to focus on is the IT security services.
Okay.
Down on the left, the other column. There you go. Yeah, so this managed IT security service audit, it's targeted towards a business with 5 computers. We'll come in and we'll do the system audit on it, and we'll run a bunch of scans, and you'll walk away knowing what you need to do to solve and prevent those things from happening in the future.
Okay, excellent. And there is, I believe that's the, okay, that's the main one. What's that?
Kickstart menu, not services.
Oh, there you go.
To the one to the right.
Coming up.
We'll just come in and really do, we'll just do kind of a physical discussion and conversation and inspection and overview of what you've got, and give you some recommendations for further actions. So we don't go in and we do a lot of hands-on with the various computers and audit things and run scans on stuff, but we look at your overall environment and we look for quick things to help you out. Like that example I gave earlier, our computers are so slow and they're all connected via Wi-Fi, and they had the antennas in a metal closet in the furthest room of the building. So.
Excellent, good. And I noticed that there's telecommunications involved, and so you're looking at every system, the whole infrastructure that operates your business. And what Gordon's done today is given, you know, in general, what managed IT involves and the value of managed IT. But there's nothing like Gordon sitting there in your business talking about your business and managed IT, which is an entirely more beneficial conversation. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Gordon, for this great enlightening webinar on your managed IT.
And that's multitech.com.
Multitech.com. Very good.
3 T's.
So, very good. Okay. So that concludes our webinar for today, but I would like to announce here that we have next week is Debbie Kluska, and she is going to be presenting the 5-step online review system for business growth. And we've got a page for her already, and you can see in the webinar what you're going to learn and the benefits of attending that webinar. So definitely reputation management. Debbie, do you want to give us a quick overview of why reputation management is important and what you're going to present next week?
Sure, thank you. Well, basically, reputation management is important because a lot of times it's the first thing people really see about your business if they're looking to engage with you. A lot of times they'll be doing a Google search, or they'll be on some other review site, be it Yelp or Facebook. They may want to get some information about your company before calling you. So what other people are saying about you is definitely very important. We'll teach you some tricks you could do on your own for free to stay on top of your reputation and be engaging. And we'll also tell you about some things that we could do for your business as well.
Okay, excellent. Okay, and I said next week. Actually, it's in 2 weeks on Tuesday, and it is 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So you'll be enlightened about reputation management, its value, and some quick things you can do to get started and take some action.
I liked your pool company analogy.
Yes.
What's bad about my business, all right, so I've got a very large client that I work with, and 2.5 years ago, I took them on as a client. And I can tell the proficiency and productivity of their IT systems by how many support calls I get. When we first started with them, I was getting easily 3 to 4 a day. This is happening, this person, this, back and forth, back and forth. We went in and did those steps and processes. And like I said, some of it's real time, some of it's overnight, a month later, it's all in their kind of budget thing. But I get like 2 a month now.
Wow. From how many to start out with?
We were easily getting 3 or 4 a day.
Wow.
And from a support issue, it's down to like 2, maybe 3 a month. And out of that, 2/3 of that is on the front end of the keyboard. It's the person behind it not knowing something or how to do, they didn't follow the instructions on how to do a password reset right. And they're stuck or they're locked out, those kind of things. Even then, the hardware wise, we've got rid of a lot of their hardware issues. Things are running so much smoother that now the director and I are working on some very large scale projects to get better servers installed. We're actually putting another server in his office next month. And, I hate to say it, but they could easily cut my contract in half and still get the same kind of support.
Wow.
At this point, because
you're working yourself out of a job.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a bad circumstance of doing so much productivity is, they only need us now when they really, really need us, or they want to plan for something. But the service and support aspect of things, we're being so much more proactive that a lot of times we catch it before the end user does and actually submits a help desk ticket. So we've already got a ticket open for things. About 50% of the time, a ticket is open before they put a ticket thinking they have a problem.
Wow. This is one thing that I think that you might have brought out more in the webinar is the ongoing service and support. You talked a lot about preventative maintenance and setting up the IT infrastructure so things don't happen. But a lot of businesses, they experience IT issues. And I think this is really valuable what you shared regarding how you cut down on these service calls. And I imagine a service call costs the business quite a bit of time because you're making the call, you're waiting for a response, and you're hoping to get in the queue for that IT company. And if you doing managed IT can actually find the issue before it becomes an issue for the business. That's really powerful.
And having that partner there, because we know a project is happening. A few weeks ago, I think, David, you remember I mentioned I was doing a server upgrade for a client. That same client had a system that was just dying. So we planned to go in on a Friday evening, install the server. We went through and tested all the systems on Saturday, even spent a couple hours on Sunday getting things ready. So Monday morning, when the 15 salespeople walked in the door at 6 o'clock in the morning, they were productive.
Wow.
And they weren't sitting around waiting because something wasn't tested right. Their phones were working. They could log in. Everything was smooth and operating. And immediately the company was gaining revenue rather than paying 15 people to sit around and wait for something that wasn't fully migrated right. You know, so there's a lot of things that we look at that other people installing a new system don't really look at.
You know, I can see that you might have a sales challenge with your business because what you're doing is, I mean, success means things don't happen. How do you sell things not happening?
Comes down to that pain engagement, for the most part, then engages us.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
A friend of a friend who has a computer that completely crashed, or all of a sudden is totally infected and blasted out a virus phishing email to their entire database, and on and on and on. Okay, now they think about bringing us in, but we could have prevented all of that to begin with.
And when things are working well, nothing bad's happening, they'll say, oh, I don't need Gordon anymore because everything's working.
But do you stop paying car insurance just because you have a good driving record?
Oh, that's good, Gordon. Very quick. Excellent. Okay, and I said next week. Actually, it's in 2 weeks on Tuesday, and it is 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So you'll be enlightened about reputation management, its value, and some quick things you can do to get started and take some action. Okay, well, that concludes our webinar for today. Thank you for being present, and the webinar replay will be up within another 8 business hours. We'll get that up for you.